More in our breaking news. Today's multi-way summit on Ukraine and the bilateral and then trilateral talks the president sees ahead. Joining me now is Volker, former U.S. ambassador to NATO and more recently special representative for Ukraine negotiations in the first Trump term. Also CNN senior political and global affairs commentator Rahm Emanuel. So Ambassador Volker, how do you think today turned out?
Well, I think this was yet another step. I think what we're seeing is the beginning of negotiations. President Trump got President Putin to lay out a proposal on Friday. Admittedly, it is an extremist proposal with no give from Putin whatsoever, but at least it's out there now. And then he got Ukraine, European leaders together. They're coming up with a different idea. And then he wants to put the sides together to see if you can create a negotiation. That's actually not bad. But probably the more significant thing underneath the surface of all this is the U.S. committing to support a reassurance force or a deterrence force in Ukraine once there is a ceasefire or a settlement to guarantee Ukraine's security into the future. President Trump had not done that before, and that looks like that's a big emerging accomplishment.
Yeah, with U.S. coordination, undefined exactly what that means. Ambassador Emanuel, what do you think came out of it?
Well, let me pick up on the last point because I think this is very important. Because the world really fell short in Budapest 1994 for Ukraine's independence and sovereignty, and also what is called the Minsk 2014 and the Minsk 2015 agreement. The United States and Europe did not show up. So I think the biggest point here, while land is a piece of it, territory, and the Finnish example is an example, but getting specific what that security agreement will be in paper, in commitment, resources, so you don't have a repeat of Budapest 1994 and Minsk 2014 and 2015, referred to as Minsk 1 and 2. That, to me, if it's true and the United States will show up, that force, more than a tripwire, but a real presence of security, will be a significant change in bridging the differences between Ukraine and Russia.
Ambassador Volker, I mean, if it is European nations with some troops on the ground in Ukraine without U.S., is that enough?
Well, I think the U.S. is going to have to support this. We're going to have to provide intelligence, surveillance, logistics, and backup, including possibly we should be working with Ukraine to give them a serious air defense capability so that Russia in the future is not able to do what Russia is doing every night right now, which is bombing Ukrainian civilians. So we got to help them out of that.
Anderson,
go ahead, Ron.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, go ahead, Anderson.
No.
I think actually one thing that I've been watching the coverage all day. One thing that hasn't been noted, but I think is really important, is away from the meetings. Soon as President Putin leaves Alaska, he calls the heads of state of India, Brazil, South Africa, all three nations that make up the BRICS, all three nations that we have, in my view, wrongly treated because they could be potential allies and partners, and we want to break up the BRICS. The way President Trump has conducted the last 7 months has brought cohesion to the BRICS as a force that doesn't have any inherent logic to it. And India has been used by American presidents after American presidents have been bringing India closer in as a counter to China. Brazil, we have a trade surplus. South Africa, we have a long history of relationship. And I think it's a telling example. While we're all watching the Oval Office, we're all watching Alaska. Who did President Putin automatically call? All the countries in America that are powerful countries, big economies, real forces in the non-aligned world, and he's aligning them against the United States. And we created that opportunity that didn't have to exist. That is another subtext to this story.
Ambassador Volker, do you think it matters that there is not going to be, it would seem, a ceasefire prior to any talk? I mean, it had been, I don't know if it was a red line allegedly for President Trump, but he had talked about the necessity of a ceasefire. Now all of a sudden it seems like he doesn't think that's a necessity.
Well, look, I think a ceasefire would be the best thing. The reason that you want to have a ceasefire is to stop the killing immediately. It doesn't mean that everything stops then, but at least fewer people are dying. That would have been a good thing. I think President Trump just ran into a stone wall with Putin, who would refuse a ceasefire. So he flipped and said, okay, let's work on a final agreement then. A couple of additional thoughts, if I could, Anderson. So, just on what Ambassador Emanuel said, I agree with him. There is nothing that glues these BRICS countries together. They have no natural common interests. Putin is trying to work that, but frankly, there's very little to work with there. Meanwhile, with President Trump calling our European allies, these are our closest allies. These are countries that share our values and interests, and they're ones we are going to count on when it comes to implementation of any security arrangements and any deal. So good for him for making those calls. The other thing that I think is important here is that President Trump, I think, brought the parties together. And he's gotten some good sounds from Putin. Today he called Putin and said, I'm going to agree to a bilateral meeting with Zelenskyy and then a trilateral after that. Don't count on Putin to keep his word. Putin will say that now, and then we'll see he'll set a condition and say, well, now we need this before we can have that meeting. Or something will happen, and he'll say, we can't have this meeting because that happened. So this is all a lot of diplomatic dance work going on. What really matters is what happens on the ground.
Yeah, Ambassador Kurt Volker. Sorry, Rahm, we're almost out of time. We got to go. Rahm Emanuel, appreciate it. More to come.